Hey guys, we're back playing mixed bag of stakes. Got a couple 1-2 tables up top, a 2-5 table bottom left, and then a 50-cent, $1 table bottom right. As usual, if bigger games pop, I'll try and substitute in those stakes. But right now, this is what we got. If you first time watching this channel, make sure to hit that like, subscribe buttons. We post a lot of free educational content for anyone trying to, we were all once like many of the people who watch this channel, playing 100L, 200L, maybe even lower than that, and trying to move up. So that sounds like the type of content you want to see more of. Definitely hit that subscribe button. You can also check out our website, www.pokerwithriske.com. Talks about the coaching services we offer. So bottom left, I isolate a recreational player's limp. I'm just going to bet small on this flop. Once he calls, we get the classic video run good. And we're just going to go bet, bet, bet. This player has shown a lot of passivity, so it's going to increase the desire for me to just mainly put my good hands in the betting line. As I was setting these tables up, he played a pot versus us where he check called a gut shot and showed down 9 high. So skewing quite passive. Top right, going to be a reasonable board for the big blind. We're going to miss this board a lot, have a lot of just high cards. He has a lot more of the low cards, so don't want to do too much betting here. Definitely gonna call turn. Pretty hard to not over bluff this node, considering just how many bluffs he has available to him. Bottom left, we're going to fold these 3. And I'm going to probably just call down here. Nice hand. Very easy to overbluff here with, I know, like, Ace Hearts doesn't really matter that much because he's not going to bluff with that card anyways. But he has all his 6x, 3x, random just stabs. Heart misses, so. And then he also obviously 3-bets a lot of pairs pre-flop, so he doesn't have that many pocket pairs. So 4-bet here with the Ace-King suited. And obviously call a shove. One of the worst boards we could have. Going to probably check almost everything here. Continue just isolating bottom left, even though it's not that great of a hand, but and check again here. And I'm gonna just versus this passive player, just bet, try and take it down. And I'm gonna keep checking here with this hand. And I'm just going to shove bottom right. It's a reasonable spot to sometimes shove here. Having, he's not going to have that many offsuit hands here. So it's like probably an overbluff here. But having a king is actually reasonably good because he might flat some. He's not going to flat much ace king there, but I think it's reasonable. When you have an ace, you might also slow play on that board like aces with the ace of diamonds. So actually having an ace isn't that bad. like, yeah, he's cut off button. He's not going to flat ace king. But he doesn't have that many offsuit combos to begin with. But if he does, a hand like ace queen, queen of diamonds, which would have to call that river pretty often if I shove. Also, you know, he's supposed to make sure he gets to that river with like some boats and stuff. So if he doesn't trap enough multi-street hands, then it's just going to be a few combos of, you know, the ace of diamonds is like happy about that river. He'd also likely bet a lot of his pocket pairs that contain a diamond prior to that. So this board, you know, king disconnected board, you can bet very high frequency. Big blind just has a lot of like, you know, queen seven of hearts type hands that just completely miss this board. So you can value bet an ace high hand, value bet any of your pairs. Open up the jack 8 off here. I'm gonna sub this table out with a 2-5 table. So now we got 2 2-5s and 2 1-2s. See, pretty big cooler top left. This will be interesting to just take a look at. You know, if you're ever playing in these, you know, any table, you should always, especially if you weren't watching the hand, you should always take a look, see if you can, especially first recreational players, because they'll often kind of telegraph. Lucky river for Muckle Me Daddy. Or Muck Me Daddy, sorry. All right, let's take a look. The action was, since we'll open up the 4s. So raise, call, check, bet, call, check, over bet, shove. All right, of note. Call here versus a big lead. And then turn this hand into a bluff versus a check. Probably still gonna just raise here versus this. I don't have to go too big. I'm mainly trying to attack the weak portion of his range. This hand's gonna be a mix versus 3-bet. It obviously isn't amazing if we get shoved on there, but I just think when he sizes down there, he usually just has, you know, maybe a better hand than ours. Or a bluff, and our hand's not going to bluff catch very well on the river. Versus a min raise, I'm going to defend the jack 8 off. I would fold this versus 2.5. On this turn, we're gonna bet not super often, and this hand's going to just check. And on this river, I don't really think I have any significant advantage. And I think I just want to... Actually, when you have a pair, these ones actually make reasonable checks. So I'm going to check and hope people have something. But yeah. Versus that, obviously if I know he has that hand, then I'd like to bet. But I think a lot of times when you have a pair here, those ones make reasonable checks. Because you block his like hero bells. Okay, when it goes check here, I'm just going to bet kind of small. Top right, on this turn, when you get this turn, you're going to want to bet a lot of your overpairs, but you can definitely check some of these. Like a hand like aces. Kings, queens are going to want to bet more often. And this hand's going to check. And then, versus most action, we're just going to call. So I would check bottom left. I also would check top left as well. And bet here. And that's top left. I have a decision versus raise, obviously. And I could value bet, I think, a lot of rivers. This will be one of the ones I can't. Chop it up. Interesting hand, because when he check calls that board, turn goes check, and then the river's a 6, and he checks. I have 2 aces. Like the hands that he shouldn't bluff there are like ace high. So I mean, he could obviously have king high. I guess that would make sense. If he has like king queen, king 9 type hand, that hand doesn't really want to bluff, but also isn't like an amazing check call. So could have just had exactly that. Most of his other hands are going to want to just like mainly bluff, or check call or check raise. For all those reasons, like a hand like king 9 actually could make like a reasonable check raise there. Wow. Interesting. Definitely a pot worth taking a look at bottom right while we wait for another hand ourselves. As we fold the king 7 off. Alright, so I went raise MP 3 bets and a small 4 bet. Call. Bet small, bet turn, shove river. Wow. Spicy. I'm just going to fold the king 8 off versus, min raise, but it's under the gun. We have king 8 off. Fold this versus MP. Versus a 25, I think 25-0. ISO. Check here, and versus this player, I'll probably just check raise, get it in. Yeah, I mean, when he bets pot, I might just shove the flop. My hands, unless this guy raises or something now, then I have like a very static hand. I actually probably just have to fold. Okay. And now I'm just going to shove, I think. He only, there's 13 bigs in the middle. He only has 54 behind. And I think I can just have, not only the best hand, but a hand that dominates a portion of his range, like his 8x. And I don't really want to give up any free cards here. So I'll lose like 9s and 10s, but yeah, like this will happen pretty often too. And no cash outs. Nice. He's also like more alive to call it off too light here, because I believe he's a recreational player, and we saw, he had that pocket 7s hand that probably didn't sit well with him. Here I'm going to start just like a range bet on double Broadway, these positions. And I think this board, I'm going to value bet this hand. Another board where he has to basically attack us by check raising. Turn becomes interesting. You can. So I unblock the ace of diamonds. I have a gutter, and there's a lot of hands that I can get to fold. So I'm going to actually go for a bet with this hand. Top right, I'm going to check when I have a pair and a flush draw. We river a flush and block boats. When he checks, most of my range is okay. And unfortunately, if I had the queen of diamonds, I might bluff this. If I had the ace of diamonds, I would definitely bluff this. This hand, I don't have a ton of showdown, but I also don't really have great removable bluffs. So we're just going to check. And here, we do win. So that's nice. Okay, I'm just going to, most of my range here is worse than a king. So we'll go for a value bet here. We have to be a little selective on this river, and obviously we'll call that off. And that's, the one hand we lose to. That's okay. Thought it was a good river, but it's literally the worst river in the deck. Block pocket tens, we have the nut flush. We basically just lose the pocket sixes. And he had pocket sixes. So that's all right. Throw an egg at him. I don't make enough use of the throwables on GG because it's not often I'm just playing 4 tables of 6 max. Squeeze here with the pocket nines. So unless he has a queen, I usually have the best hand here. So I'm gonna go for a value bet against 7s, 6s, 8s, ace 5 suited, pocket 3s. But we just take it down. Open up the 10-8. Weakest hand I would open. Pretty sure it's supposed to be a mix. So can't even open this every time. You can just go 50-50, or you could base it on the blinds. You think both blinds play pretty well and aggressive versus opens, then 50-50. If you think they're a bit on the passive side, this player wants to play me heads up, I will probably do that after this video is done. But right now, we'll just finish recording. So I'm gonna defend first min raise with 5-3. This hand's gonna make a check raise sometimes. Like obviously, we can't have 5x of we can't have 3x of clubs here, obviously, because that's on the board. But you're still gonna want to check raise this type of hand sometimes. This time we'll just call. The sizing is kind of weird, so I'm gonna go. Good river. I don't think I have a flush advantage. I don't have I don't have enough 3x that I want to play like a leading range here. So I just want to check. Yeah, kind of felt like a weird turn size. So Could just be his strat, but typically when you bet small on that flop, you want to play bigger on turn. We're going to 3-bet here with the king queen suited. Unfortunately, we get a snap fold. I'm going to 3-bet sometimes with ace-6 off. Block ace-10 suited. Go for a bet. Check turn with ace-6. We bet this board a lot. We're going to need to check this turn reasonably often. And call the river. So these positions, he'll call for a bit jacks, tens, and then some bluffs. Obviously, we lose to kings and aces, and then ace king. So this hand's probably like, you know, right in the middle. It can do either or. And we're gonna call this time. Good flop. Queens are interesting here just when you get cold 4-bet, because his cold 4-bet folds will actually contain a queen pretty often, like king queen suited, ace queen off. So having 2 queens, you actually like block some of his folds. But like I said, like he potentially has tens and jacks as well. If he thinks I'm too out of line, he might even have worse than that. Could play shoves on turn in his position. He goes for a small bet. With queens, I'm just going to call again. I mean, we're going to call every river. The worst rivers would be a jack or an ace, I guess. A jack of spades would be really bad, but this is, well, we can't lose unless he's cold 4-bet us with pocket threes. He should blow up this river with like some ace king hands. When he does this, I assume he's check folding. There's not a ton when I have 2 queens, there's not a ton of hands he wants to check this river with to check call. Because like he could do this with like ace queen himself, king queen maybe. But when I have 2 queens, it's hard for him to have those hands. He probably just has like ace king, ace jack, and he's giving up. But obviously we're just gonna shove. And now he's gonna think we bluffed him because I showed queen 8. Well, if he watches this video, he'll know he made the right check fold. So our range, you know, obviously we have the queen X region that's gonna call on that run out. But we're gonna have hands like jacks, ace king ourselves, maybe ace jack suited, like those type of hands that he can get to fold on the river when he's I mean, if he has ace king, obviously he beats ace jack suited, but if he's check folding that, then he could jam and not fold. I'm gonna open this just because I don't know who this player is, so I'm gonna try and play as wide as possible. And like, you know, I would open 10-8 off in a standard situation, so I'm gonna go a bit wider. 1 pip seems fine. This player's, you know, this hand can 3-bet sometimes anyways. I'm going to 3-bet here because this player is playing a lot of hands. This opponent should, you know, probably be aware of the situation. Cold 4-bet me a bit wider. It's interesting if I ever want to shove here. I guess I'll call. I'm gonna check all your one. Now we'll check call again. I mean, basically I could check raise here to get him to fold like pocket fives, pocket sixes. And we'll get out of the way with nines. This guy's playing a lot of hands. I'm gonna go. Nice hand. Just think he can have. He's playing 42%. Just want like small bet, small bet, small bet. It's pretty easy for him to be over bluffing in that node. He claims he thinks this player has a set. And he has ace-8. I mean, well, we would have lost anyways. But like I said, this is kind of evidence that we thought, like, I think this range wasn't as wide as, like, part of the reason I didn't shove is, like, I thought this guy could have, like, tens and jacks pretty often to play this way. Like, he is out of line, but just, like, opens under the gun, 3-bet, cold 4-bet. I think even these type of, like, this type of player is going to be a bit in line here, as in he's not going to have, like, ace-10 off or, you know, 9-6 suited type hands. So I was a little concerned that his range was too strong for me to jam nines. If I had tens, or like I was thinking, like, where's the cutoff? Probably tens or jacks I would have jammed, because now if he's going linear or too wide for, or too thin for value, now I beat more of his pairs as well. So if he's 3-betting tens, nines, eights maybe, now when I have tens, I beat nines and eights, and then benefit from getting folds from some of the rest of his range. We're gonna fold here with ace queen. I'll call it here. Let's just finish these hands and call it a session. A bit shorter than usual, but I think there's some interesting hands definitely in this session. I'm gonna go for a c-bet here with tens with the club. You prefer having a club here, just you got raised less often. Your hand has more equity on future streets. And we'll go for a check on this turn, and then it's not the greatest bluff catcher on the river, having 2 tens and the 10 of clubs, but we'll see what happens. And versus a snap check, I'm gonna go for a value bet. I'm gonna get called, and he has pocket sixes. Nice. All right, if he barrels top right, we have like one of the worst imaginable hands to call with. Block 7-6, and that's like, you know, if he's gonna 3-bet and barrel this turn, having like a 10 or a 7 are like your worst bluff catchers. So fold this hand, especially when you don't have a pair on board. And we'll call it there. I think a reasonable session. We had some fun hands. Definitely, as I mentioned, hit that like and subscribe button if you like the content, and we'll be posting more shortly. All right, have a good one, guys.